So very recently, in fact, a couple of hours ago, around 9 a.m., um, someone named Fulcrum, or Anonymous Gears, posted a tweet saying the truth about Jonochrome and my witnessed account. Now, for those of you who don't know about Jonochrome, Jonochrome is behind the game One Night at Flumpty's, and is also behind a game known as Riddle School, which was popular on Newgrounds, although those details don't exactly matter here in the context of the story, but they do matter to give a sort of background on who Jonochrome is. Now, Jonochrome just came under fire from this Twitlonger for alleged inappropriate behavior with a minor, and we're just going to get into the Twitlonger here because it does reveal some pretty damning things. I read through it a little bit just before I recorded this, and I think it needs to be seen to be believed because it honestly disgusts me, and it shows just how demented the FNAF community has gotten, especially in recent years. So here's the Twitlonger. It says, "The truth about Jonochrome and my witnessed account. Hello, my name is unimportant in this matter, but I'd rather stay anonymous. I love this community. I absolutely have been a part of the FNAF fandom ever since 2014. The point of this is to try to make it safer for everyone and minors. Don't go attacking Scott over this. He had absolutely no way of knowing who Jonochrome really is. I also strongly insist minors stay within their age groups when meeting friends in the same fandom online, whether artists or not. With that said, this is my testimony cutting clean about Jonochrome. Now, before we get into the rest of this, I will say that this revolves around a minor, a 13 to 14-year-old girl at the time, who was named Emily. Now, Emily became involved with Jonochrome, and this is where this whole story unravels from someone who witnessed the whole thing go down. Now, we don't exactly have full evidence that Jonochrome actually did anything bad or just groomed Emily. However, there are some screenshots within this tweet longer, which we will delve into later. Now, let's get back into the tweet longer quote. After seeing the release of One Night at Flumpty's 3 and how Jonochrome has insisted on staying within the community and the fanverse, I cannot stand by and allow him to continue being within this fandom, and I really should have come forward much earlier when I initially found out. Now, I don't exactly want to attack this person, but I will say that, yeah, you should have come forward much earlier, because then you might have protected Emily a lot better, and then not only that, with the timing of this, after One Night at Flumpty 3's release, it would seem like you are trying to tank Jonachrome's career to some people based on the timing of this. So yeah, the timing could have done a little bit better, but well, that's neither here nor there. Hello everyone, it is Quartza, currently editing the video, and I just wanted to add this little extra bit just to clarify a few things. I know that it may seem that I'm currently victim shaming in this portion of the video, and I'm really trying not to. I'm just, the point that I'm trying to get at here is that, had the timing been a bit better in terms of everything coming out, then maybe it would have had a bit of a bigger impact. Maybe this information would have come out sooner, and more people would have been informed. But I guess it was just very poorly illustrated, and I'm really sorry if it seemed like I was just being a huge dick in that section of the video. That's not really what I'm trying to do, but I think the main point that I'm trying to get at here is that I'm glad that this information is out there, because that means all this behavior is put out there. That means people will be protected. I'm just saying hey, maybe you should have come out with this earlier. Maybe something more would have been done, and maybe something would have been done to Jonochrome. Maybe he would have gone to jail for his actual had this come out before she became legal age, of course. But of course, as we'll get into later, Jonochrome can only go to jail if Emily chooses to press charges, and as again you'll see later, that might not be happening. So I just wanted to clear this up, and let's get back to the video. Quote, I was involved with plenty of his group DMs from 2016 to 2018. A girl by the name of Emily was 13 to 14 at the time, so around my age, and he came out all about his relationship with her within group DMs we've had. Jonochrome was already in his 20s. Charges cannot be pressed as Emily would need to do it herself as she would now be 19. I have evidence to provide this with links to all of it, witness statements and messages from Jonochrome himself. This man should not be praised at all, and I hope this helps people see him for what he really is and why he should be removed altogether from any community he has a high stance in. And I'm going to read through these witness screenshots and also the whole screenshot with Emily's age. However, I will say that this honestly disgusts me because I used to respect Jonochrome. I used to be a fan of his work along with many other people my age, and seeing this and how deplorable his behavior is, it honestly saddens me, and I really hope that he gets the proper help that he needs. And I hope that he does not go near any fandom with minors in it, ever. But let's take a look at the first witness screenshot, which I am currently loading up right here. I am reading this as I go along, and I'm recording all of this. So here's the first little Imgur thread full of screenshots. Now, here's what it says here. Quote, I can confirm I was in this group chat. Yeah, Emily was actually a part of the chat at one point in time when it was still around, though left. If I recall correctly, it was because of personal issues on her end, though I won't get into what those were for privacy's sake, though said issues were unrelated to Jonathan, who is Jonochrome, by the way. And now, I don't have too much information, but I do actually have some. This goes back to when net neutrality was a big talking point. Jonathan had expressed fears about the possibility of net neutrality going away, and I do recall him citing Emily as one of the biggest reasons he was fearful of that possibility. I wasn't entirely sure what the extent of their relationship was. I do think it was plain to see the two of them were closer than the rest of us in the group DM. Something I recall being mentioned at one point in time, though I don't remember if this was inside or outside the group DM. Jonathan was sending her something as in a physical package. I am not sure what the gift was, but that's something I do remember. I also think that I remember him using the term online relationship at one point, but this is a years old memory now. I know that John had a girlfriend in 2017 and 2018. If the same person is Emily, then who? I mean, yeah, that is a fair point. If this girlfriend was Emily when she was a minor, then that'd basically be a pretty big yikes. It says here, quote, if I had to post it a guess, it was possibly Emily. Speaking personally here, as I said, I recall him saying online relationship, though I only have my own memory to go on here. But I remember for certain his panic with net neutrality and contacting Emily. So through this first witness, we can learn that Jonochrome was fearful about net neutrality. Now, for those who don't know what net neutrality is, it's a pretty simple concept, and it's basically just it's the principle that the ISP or your internet service provider has to provide like all like services equally and not discriminate based on user content, website, or platform. However, with net neutrality going away, that would mean that ISPs would have to basically keep a full monitor on everything you do, and they would also have to send some of the information to the proper channels, if they have to. Now, the reason why Jonochrome was most likely afraid of this was because if he knew that if he got caught, then he would most likely be screwed, because the ISPs would be collecting his friggin' data, and then bam, he'd basically be screwed, like on several levels. Now let's move on to the second Imgur thread, which is the second witness. And these are Discord messages instead of text messages. Quote, from memory, it was explicitly romantic, though in public IIRC, it was only... sorry, I just have to burp for a little bit, but... It was only referred to vaguely with no specifics when it came to names and such. Yeah, Jonathan, specifically from what I remember, phrased it as them being in a relationship. IIRC, they mentioned it in the group chat, and there was a lot of, excusing, I guess, stuff like nothing sexual until of legal age, etc. Now, I will say this, even if you're planning to not do anything sexual with them until they're of legal age. You're still a man in your 20s, Jonochrome, and this girl is in middle school to maybe like freshman year of high school. So I don't think that even if you're not doing anything sexual with her until she's 18, that you should be in a relationship with her at all. Like, seriously. And the fact that you phrase it as just like, oh yeah, nothing sexual until of legal age, it seems that you're like, you're just waiting for it to become legal, and then bam, you can finally hit it and quit it, and then, all will be right in the world. Like, no, that's not how it works, Jonochrome. And now let's move on to the third witness screenshot. Quote, oop, I do believe they were an item, yeah. Don't quote me, but I recall Jonathan saying something along the lines of being with Emily romantically. So, another, witness saying that, yeah, he was basically phrasing it like they were in a relationship and all that. Yeah, this is basically what was said. And the final witness screenshot. So these are like Tumblr messages, if I remember correctly, and these are from Jonochrome. Quote, my youngest older sister is now engaged, which means soon I'll be the only unmarried kid in my 6-kid family. I was going to make a joke about you marrying yourself, but then I found this gem. Marrying your work, that's the weirdest autocorrect thing. Your work, yourself in autocorrect land. The plan is to marry Emily, but it's just gonna be a while. I'm scared about tomorrow. I haven't talked about it at all because I don't like getting political, and I'm just trying to distract myself from the issue as much as possible, but yeah, net neutrality ends tomorrow. I wouldn't be as nervous if it wasn't for the fact that I've been in a long-distance relationship for 2.5 years, not really sure what I'm supposed to do in this situation. So here, Jonochrome blatantly admits to being in a relationship with Emily and wanting to marry her, and like he's legit saying, yeah, I wouldn't be nervous if it wasn't for the fact that I'm in a relationship with a child. Like, again, I will say this. He's scared about it because he knows that he's basically screwed if it comes out that he's dating a minor. And now we have a screenshot proving Emily's age. So this is Emily's, DeviantArt. I will blur it out just for privacy's sake, but I will not blur out Jonochrome because screw him. And it shows here that Emily was born in 2002. So if these were occurring since 2016, this would mean that Emily would be somewhere between 13 to 14 at the time this started, and at the point where it ended, she would be 15 to 16 at the latest. Which is very, what's the word? What's the word I'm looking for? Oh yeah, predatory. It's predatory, Jonochrome. And here you can see a bunch of Twitter things that Jonochrome sent to Emily, and some of them are actually pretty friggin' disgusting. So yeah, that's all from, the witnesses' side. However, Jonochrome did, he did, in fact, just fucking post a screenshot of things that he said, which I will address right here. Quote, let me load it up. Well, if my statement means anything, here it goes. I'm not a child groomer, I'm not a pedophile, plain and simple. I wouldn't dream of manipulating, abusing, or exploiting anyone, much less minors, and the twitlonger has no evidence to suggest I did. It comes across as spiteful to me more than it comes across as a post made out of legitimate concern for anyone's safety. This is already red flag number 1. There was a few screenshots left in that twitlonger of addresses, especially from yourself, where you admit, yeah, I was dating a child. Quote, that said, I can't deny the screenshots were real. So you're saying that there were no evidence, and already you contradicted yourself by saying, yeah, they were real. Quote, when Emily and I met, dating wasn't even a consideration for obvious reasons. We were just friends who got along very well. My first relationship was with someone my age, which only lasted a few months because we didn't communicate very well. That was when I started questioning what was really important in a relationship and what actually makes two people compatible. I realized that Emily and I share the same religious beliefs, we have a similar sense of humor, there's a lot of overlap in our interests and hobbies, and we comfortably talk about a lot of things. We both felt like maybe we were meant to be together and we were just born at the wrong times. Okay, pause. Pause real quick. That's a yikes. He's legit making that argument like, yeah, we were just born at the wrong times. We were meant to be together. It's definitely not the fact that I'm a grown ass man dating a child. Yeah, we were just born at the wrong points in time. This is God's fault. Quote, we started talking, making it clear right away that there would be nothing sexual or about our conversations and that we wouldn't meet in person until she was at least 18. We enjoyed each other's company, just talking, hanging out. Occasionally, we'd watch movies together. For a long time, I didn't see the harm in it. I always put my needs, or her needs, before my own, always aiming to do what was best for her, and in a way, I thought I was saving her from the experiencing the same heartbreak I did. This year, 2021, would have been the year we met in person with her at age 19, but this was also when I learned she was starting to have doubts about our relationship. Oh dear, I wonder why. I wonder why, Jonathan. Quote, she knew I didn't mean any harm, while also saying I had effectively prevented her from exploring other romantic options by approaching her when I did. I'd like to say I knew better, but until that moment I kinda didn't. I thought I'd done everything right and gambled on the assumption that if we were really meant to be together, it wouldn't have mattered in several more years. But the reality is, I didn't give her enough time to grow, and I shouldn't have even entertained the idea. It's the mistake I've made the one time, and I'll never make it again for as long as I live. For anyone who wishes to hear the victim side of the story, Emily and I are on good terms, and she's planning to make her own response to this as soon as she can. Regardless, I was wrong for pursuing a relationship with her. I can't change the past, but I hope that my story can at least serve as an example for others. Please, whether you're an adult or a minor, don't make the same mistake I did. You might have the best of intentions and the utmost confidence in a potential relationship with someone out of your age range, and you might not see any red flags, but that's no excuse. It's not worth it. Minors should be especially careful in an online space because there are people out there who want to take advantage of you. This could have ended a lot worse. Stay safe. So, the thing is, I don't believe this. I don't think that Jonochrome should be let off the hook here. And the reason why is because generally he doesn't even seem like a good person. He says that it wasn't grooming, yet he admits, like, yeah, I'm just gonna wait until, she's a legal age. And then, bam, all of a sudden, sex is, like, right on the table. Let's go. And he's legit saying, oh, yeah, I'm on good terms with her. And that's where I think the biggest problem lies here, where he's stating this because, like, bro, like, goddamn, even if you two are on good terms, which I seriously hope you aren't for her sake, like, goddamn, if you're on good terms with her, you should probably distance yourself immediately because it's gonna look very friggin' bad on you if you're still in contact with someone that you dated when they were a child, and it's gonna come back on Emily because then she'd be coming under fire for being in a like on good terms with someone who like was basically dating her since she was a minor. She was like 13 to 14. Jonochrome was in his 20s. There's a lot of things wrong with that, and that should be very obvious. If you two were on good terms, supposedly, then go ahead and separate for everyone's sake. For your own sake, so it doesn't continue to come back on you, and for Emily's sake, so she doesn't have to deal with you anymore, and so it doesn't come back on her. Because seriously, you're pulling her into this, and just fucking, like, why? Seriously, why? And Emily has tried to, like, deflect everything on the whole thing. Like, bro, don't even try to defend him. Like, if you're trying to defend him, you're just allowing this thing to continue to spread. You're allowing it to continue to happen to other people. Now, imagine if it happens to another child like yourself. Like, seriously, if this happens to another 13 to 14-year-old, or maybe like even like someone even younger than that, or maybe a little bit older than that, like whatever, if they're still a minor, like if it happens to this because you chose to defend Jonochrome, then goddamn, I guess it's gonna continue to come back onto you. And this is not meant to attack Emily because she is very much the victim here. However, I feel like she's not handling the situation with enough care as it should be handled with. Because the fact that she's willing to say, oh yeah, like, I'm willing to forgive this man, like, he's apologized, he did this and he's that. That's not good enough. Because if he really wants to show that he's willing to improve, then he needs to distance himself from you. You need to distance yourself from him. He needs to get the proper help and stay out of any community that has children in it. Because the second this happens again, because he got let off the hook, then everyone is screwed. But that's all I really have to say for this whole topic. If you for some reason enjoyed this, then go ahead, like, subscribe, etc. You know the deal. This has been Quartz, signing out. Have a good one, Weds.